Hi guys, it's the Bipolar Hot Mess. Like I told you on my page, I tried so hard to do that interview with the note. I spent 3 to 4 hours on it because I wanted to answer all the questions, really well for you guys. And somehow it got deleted when I tried to delete it had posted a couple times. And when I deleted it the one time, it deleted all of them and the entire note. And I've tried everything to recover it, and I can't. So instead of going back and retyping it all for another 3 to 4 hours, I thought I would just answer them all via video because it'll be a lot faster and easier for me, and probably easier for you guys too, to hear the answers and instead of have to read through long boring stuff, because you all know I ramble. So these are just the questions that I had received up until the time that I was making this video. Any additional questions that you guys want to ask, or anyone, if you didn't even ask a question and you want to ask one, send it to the website or the Facebook page, or add it to a comment on the Facebook page. I usually get those faster than I get any comments on the videos on YouTube. I don't know why there's a lag in that, but then if I get enough questions together, then I'll do a second part of this. If not, if it's been a couple days and I haven't gotten enough for a second part, then I'll just answer the questions. Either I'll put them as a post, or I'll just, depending how personal they are or whatnot, I may just send you a specific response. So, but feel free to ask more questions, especially if any of these answers spark more questions for you. I want to be very open with you guys because, I'm documenting my journey with you. How I'm getting back going again. I mean, I faltered once, and that's when I was diagnosed, and it took me really, really quickly to get back on my feet again. And this time it's taken a hell of a lot longer. And so I've just been documenting it along the way, and I want you, this is to show you guys that you guys are not alone, and the more you know about me, the more you know that I'm just like every one of you. I don't want you to think I'm some sort of super weird hero with glitter powers, because no, I don't have that. I'm literally just like each and every one of you. I have bipolar disorder, and I live every day with it, and I have various other diagnoses, which is one of the questions, so I'll address that later. But I go through the same things that you guys do, or I have gone through the same things. We are all at different points in our journeys, and through each other is how we learn and how we can better cope, and that's the purpose. Actually, I think that kind of, in a way, answers one of the questions. But I just want you guys to recognize that I am just like you guys. I'm a normal human being. Well, not normal. I mean, what is normal? But I mean, I'm just like every one of you guys. I'm not extraordinary in any way. I'm just hoping that my experiences can either help you guys in your experiences, or can teach you guys, or kind of inspire you along the way. If you're in a bad place and that day I'm having a good day, I want to inspire you all and show you all that good days are coming. They do come. They do happen. I'm having one. They have to happen to everyone, because I have probably the world's worst luck. If it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. I swear. That's the kind of luck that I have. My boyfriend actually told me the other day, when the toilet was running because the handle wasn't working quite right, and he's like, see, you come in here and everything starts falling apart, and it's true. That's why I say that I'm a hot mess, because I literally, I'm a mess. Everywhere I walk, I'm tripping, I'm falling. I was in ballet, though, for heaven's sake. I shouldn't be tripping and falling, but I do. So, I mean, I'm just a regular person. I'm a mess, just like all you guys think you are. So, basically, I just wanted you guys to be able to have the chance to ask me questions, and really get to know me and some of my struggles, because normally it's just my platform and I'm giving you guys what I want you guys to see, or what I'm allowing you guys to see. So these questions are for you guys to, things you want to know that I haven't talked about that you don't know. Because I want, I'm an open book pretty much. That's about all. So that said, the first question was, do I still live at home with my mom and dad? Yes. I'm not going to lie. Yes, I do. Basically, I couldn't afford, right before I left my husband last March, in January, I had gone on disability leave at work. And so when I left my husband in March, that was the only place I could afford to go because I was on disability. And then with the expenses of my divorce attorney and the length to which it was dragged, the whole, process was dragged out, it cost me a huge ton of money. And I'm still, even though the divorce is finalized, I'm still right now making payments, which leave me with less than probably 20% of my disability check to live on for the rest of the month, so I can pay for the attorney. And I know, and I'm sure the next question everyone's sitting there asking is, why didn't I go after him for attorney's fees? Why didn't I go after him for all kinds of things? My friends have asked me that up, down, left, right, and center. For me, I just wanted out, and I didn't want to continue the process any longer. He was a former attorney, so he was able to represent himself for a while, saving himself a lot of money, and so, he saved a lot of money, and he was employed. I wasn't, and so he was able to do a lot of those things, but at the end of the day, I didn't want any more money from him. I didn't want anything. I just said, let's just take what we have and go our separate ways. That's all I wanted. So I'm paying the attorney, and that's fine, but yes, I am still living with my mom and dad, and I'm not ashamed, because it may seem like I'm ashamed because I'm like kind of crying, but I'm not, because this experience has actually helped my parents so much in understanding my illness. When I was first diagnosed, I had been living with my boyfriend, who then became my husband, and I was hospitalized, and then I went straight, back to the home where I was living with him. And so my parents never really got a taste of what it was like to live with someone with the illness, and so it was a learning experience for them. Same thing. My sister's 10 years younger than me, and so she's in college right now. So when she came home for summer break, and she actually just went back on Wednesday, she went back down to college, and you guys know her as Sister Hot Mess, or the Bald Princess. She has her page, The Bald Princess Shines On. But they all got to really experience what it was like to have, or to live with someone who has bipolar disorder. And then they were able to see me at my worst and at my best, because I was hospitalized in October. So at some point during my stay with them, I was hospitalized. So they got to revisit that. I was at a different hospital, so the conditions were a little different than the first time around, but it taught them more than they ever knew. And they realized that it's a lot more serious than they ever thought, but they also realized that I needed more help than they were giving me and at the time, and so they tried to get to know me and get to know a little bit more about what it is I need when it comes to support from family members and things like that. So living at home has been, it kind of sucks because I'm 32. I'll be 33 in October, and it's like, oh, I'm back living with mom and dad. I mean, I did venture out on my own, so I don't feel so bad, but it's been a good experience because because they now had to live with it, they had to learn about it, and it forced them to learn about it more and to see it firsthand. And so I think it's been good for all of us as a family. And the next question was, have you ventured back into the workforce yet? Maybe even in a voluntary basis. And not yet. After my short-term disability ran out in April, my employer fired me, and that basically was my last straw and last kind of foot in the door with the legal field. When I was with my ex-husband before we got married, there was a legal situation that included an indictment. So I was federally indicted, and because of that, I won't be able to work in the legal field again. And I have 2 bachelor's degrees, one in criminal justice and one in paralegal studies, and I attended law school for a year. And so, in college, my end goal was to become an attorney, and so I groomed myself to be that, by getting my degrees in that, both degrees in that, and by getting then going on to law school. But unfortunately, because of the indictment, I won't be able to go back into the legal field. So now I have to, in order to find a job, when my doctors say I can go back, so far I have not been cleared to go back to work yet. But when it comes to finding a job, I have to find an entire new career and an entire new profession. So it's trying to come up with some creative ways to use the skills that I have and apply them in a different field. I was looking at trying to do maybe something in the mental health field. Not sure yet. As far as getting out there and volunteering, right now, between this website and Ask a Bipolar and trying to get myself back on track, I've had my back problems with my bulging disc and things like that. So I've been dealing with a lot of pain with that, and then physical therapy, and now some pain management stuff. So so as far as volunteering, I just really haven't had really the actual time to do so. This site is almost like a volunteer job for me in a way, because just the amount of hours and time that it takes. But I like doing it because it's also like therapy for me, because you guys all help me, just hopefully as much as me or other people on the site are helping you guys. But you guys really are helping me when I'm feeling bad about things. So I thank you. So this is kind of like my volunteer type job. And with this site, though, I have learned so much about social media and so much about WordPress and a lot of other things. And so those have just added to my skills that I can use when I'm going to looking for a job. So if you guys have any ideas or suggestions, let me know. I'm open to ideas. But the next question is, do I have kids? They're thinking I have 2 girls. No, I do not have any kids. My ex-husband's sister had a little girl about a year after I started dating him. So I was an aunt for several years, and I loved being an aunt. Um, and I just found out recently that my brother's wife is expecting, and she's due on Thanksgiving. They're having a little boy, so I'm gonna get to be an aunt again. Um, but there's a lot of stuff going on with that, so I don't know what's gonna happen with that. But so I'm an aunt, perpetual aunt. um, I don't know. I don't know if I'll have children. I want to, but I just don't know at this point what's gonna happen with that. But I do want children. But I'm surrounded by a lot of children. My boyfriend has several nieces and nephews, so I get to see them often and play with them, and babysit a lot. So that that kind of, I don't know. It doesn't fulfill it, but it's nice. It's nice to be around kids. So do I have a man in my life who treats me how I deserve to be treated? Currently, yes, I do. He's absolutely wonderful. He's my number one supporter, to be honest with you guys. The signs and things that I make, he helps me with. He helps me write down all the facts and little statistics that I write and I put on little graphics and stuff. He helps me with those because he wants to learn more about it. He has his little workstation set up on the kitchen or the dining table at his house, and it's got the Loving Someone with Bipolar Disorder by Julie Fast. I read that and did a review on it and interviewed her on that book, and so he has my highlighted copy, and so he's really getting into that, and a couple of other books that are intro to bipolar disorder books that I'd also been sent to read and review, and I've done the reviews, and so he's going through them now and learning all about it, and it's really awesome because I didn't have a lot of support before, and now I have a great deal of support, and it makes a huge difference. But yes, he treats me wonderful. He tries to figure out what to do when I'm up or I'm down. He'll go to doctor's appointments with me, for my back especially, ER visits and doctors and specialists and all that. He's there. He'll go if I am having a bad day, like with my back, and I can't move, but I need my meds. He'll go get my meds. He's been a saint. He is a saint, I think. But he's definitely what I needed to help get me through all this, because I had felt a lot of hurt when my marriage ended, and at the time that my marriage ended, my grandmother also passed away, and so there were a lot of really emotional experiences for me, and I was really, really in a dark place, and he stayed there, and he wanted to learn more, and he wanted to help me through it, and I don't know that there's very many people out there that do that. We have success stories like our guest admin Addie, who just celebrated another wedding anniversary, and that is just such inspiration to know that we can have successful relationships, because that's one of the things that a lot of people who have bipolar disorder believe, that they're never going to have a good relationship or a solid relationship, and it's true, we can have them. It's a matter of finding the right people. And sometimes we're just not in the right place in our lives to find the right people. And he just kind of fell into my lap, and I was at the right place at the right time. I met him at one of my really good friends, her birthday parties. So that was last year, August 9th. So we've been together for over a year now. And he's still stuck around. So he's seen me go up and down and all over the place. And he's still here. So that's, I think he's treating me very, very well. A lot of times I think he treats me better than I deserve. But he's really helped me in seeing the good things, the good qualities about me, which when I had my breakdown last January, I couldn't see one good thing about me at all. And so he's definitely helped boost my self-esteem. And I don't know, for those of you who have been following me for about a year now or so, I don't know if you've noticed the change in like the tone on the page. Before it was very, very somber and down and dark, and it's kind of been brought back up a little bit. And Annie, thank you, Annie. You're wonderful. She's helped kind of bring the happy and positive and joyful, colorful back to our lives as well. So I think that you can see the progression of how things have come for me. And so yes, he's been awesome, and he notices more things on the page than I do at times, and he points them out to me. So sometimes he's checking my page sooner than me because I'm wrapped up with something else. So just know that if I haven't seen it, he's probably seen it and is probably either texting me or calling me to tell me about whatever. If I've hit a milestone, a lot of the milestones actually have been noticed and have been told to me by him. And he's the one who's like, let's go get the boards, let's go get we gotta make the signs. And it's like midnight, and he wants to make glitter signs. So he's watching over the page just as much as I am. So always know Hot Mess Boyfriend is he's got your guys' backs too. He really loves the page. He loves it. And he loves that I'm able to help so many people, and that he believes that I bring so much joy to all of your lives. So he loves that too. So all of you guys following my page and showing me support and me supporting you, like, he loves that. So he loves all of you guys too. He's one of your guys' fans. You guys all have a fan. That's Hot Mess Boyfriend. Next question. Let's see. How did you learn to cope with your bipolar? I'm bipolar 2 as well. Coping, I don't think you ever really learn how to cope. You learn how to manage. You learn how to kind of, like, when you feel a certain way, you can tell, like, if a certain things, like, will alert you to when you're gonna have a crash. I mean, you can kind of predict just by the way, either your body feels or your moods, for if it's the same way in a couple days in a row, those types of things. If you notice a pattern of that, that's how you can kind of control and manage the illness, because when you start feeling those things, then you can kind of be more proactive and kind of nip them in the bud and kind of try to prevent that downfall. And if you can't fully prevent the downfall, you can at least try to do a little damage control so the fall is not as harsh as it was. How do I suggest that you go about trying to figure that out? Well, it's gonna take sorry, I've got like tears, like sorry. To kind of get an idea of how to manage your illness, usually I would say it probably takes anywhere from 1 to 2 months. And I say that because you're gonna wanna track your moods and a bunch of other variables, which I'll tell you in a minute. But you're gonna want to track those for a month, and then the second month is when you're gonna want to look and kind of track it too, and see where if there's similarities in time periods too. Like at certain times of the month, like are you maybe for women, when you're about to get your menstrual cycle, maybe that's when not only the hormones and stuff from that are coming to play, but also it's triggering some of your symptoms of bipolar. Well, and you can look then for the next month, and if the same thing happens again, then that's a possibility. And so for the third month, you now know, and you can be proactive. So the first month, you're going to want to track things like you're going to want to see like anything that makes you, anything that puts you in a really bad mood. Are there anything like when you notice that you're in a bad mood, like can you pinpoint what put you in that mood, or did you just wake up in a bad mood? If you were in a bad mood and something that someone did, maybe one of your friends or family members or something, maybe someone did something and it made you happy again. Well, that's something you'd want to note, because then you'll know in the future that when you're feeling like this, when people do these types of things, they cheer you up and they help you, out of your mood. So you'll note that. So you'll kind of just keep a note of all the you want to do positives and negatives, because we're not always being bipolar does not always mean that we're either okay at like a certain baseline, like normal functioning people, and then all of a sudden we just go down and are so depressed and dark. I mean, there's also the other side of it where we can have mania or hypomania, and so you want to make sure that you track not just things that put you into a bad mood or a depressive mood. You want to track things that make you irritable or agitated, anything that that you notice that causes you to start getting a little hypo, things like that, and note that in like a journal or some diary, something, sheets of paper, a different sheet for every day, some way so that you're able to differentiate the days, and you can go back and look, and you could see if there's patterns within that month. And then when you go on to the second month, you can compare, were these things happening at the same time of the month, things like that, and notice any patterns like that, so that then the third month, the second month, if you notice some patterns in the first month, well, then the second month you can start implementing some things. But the third month, for sure, you should be able to kind of start, implementing things. Like if you noticed something that either you did or someone did that made you happy when you were sad, then when you start to feel sad, instead of waiting till you're all the way down on the ground and then you just start feeding yourself more into it, instead of doing that, this time you can, as you're starting to fall down, maybe remember or look back at the journal and see what is it that someone did, or what is it that you did that ended up bringing you out of it, and do it right then. instead of waiting till you've hit rock bottom. So you can kind of, prevent things. Maybe if it's something like you went running, and the running helped bring you into a better place, then maybe that's something not that you just have to implement on the days when you're feeling sad, but maybe that's something you want to incorporate into your everyday routine. And maybe that will help overall, cheer you up. I mean, everybody has their different things. So some of the things, if you're doing them yourself, then maybe you can incorporate them into your, into your daily routine. And that will help a lot of the, feeling sad for like a day or whatever. So that's the best way that I can think of to manage my bipolar. As far as coping with it, managing it is the best way to cope with it, because then you're able to kind of you're able to not have so many bad days, because you've figured out how to bring yourself out of it. So you'll spend hopefully not as much time on the bad end of the spectrum. But coping wise, it's also a matter of acceptance, and you have to accept and acknowledge that you have bipolar disorder, and this is something that it's genetic. It is a chemical imbalance, and that it's going to be with you the rest of your life, whether or not it's in remission or not. I mean, there are people who have their symptoms go into remission because, they're really taking care of themselves, and they're being proactive in preventing, the things that make them vulnerable or susceptible to having, their downfalls. But it's something you're going to have to be cognizant of your entire life. So acceptance is another huge factor when it comes to coping with it, because if you can't accept that you have it, and you don't take that, you just kind of never really believe in it, kind of, then it's going to be a lot harder to manage it and deal with it and be comfortable with it. I mean, it's not a comfortable illness to have by any means, because you're up and down, but by accepting it and accepting that this is something you're going to have to deal with the rest of your life, and I need to make proactive steps that can help make it easier to live with it the rest of your life, and making sure that you're adhering to what your doctor is either telling you, if he's telling you, like, giving you a certain diet, or telling you, giving you a certain workout routine because he feels that, that might help you, or if, he's giving you any kind of orders, following those, and making sure that you're adhering to, if you're being prescribed medication, that you're taking them as directed. And if you are having side effects, really bad side effects, that you are bringing it to his attention, and seeing what can be done. But adhering to your medication is one of the easiest ways that people end up, it's the easiest way for failure. Basically, like, you're setting yourself up for failure if you're not taking your meds as your doctor has prescribed them, because he's given them to you for a specific reason or purpose. So, sticking to his regimen is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. And if the meds aren't working, you have to, absolutely have to tell him, because there's no way for him to know if they're not working right unless you tell him, because he doesn't see you on a daily basis. So he's not going to know unless you tell him. And so when you go to your doctor, make sure that you make like a list of things that you need to talk to him about if you have questions. And that way you don't forget what you wanted to talk to him about or ask him. But whatever he is instructing you to do is he's telling you to do that for, to help make it easier for you to manage your illness. So definitely listen to your doctor. And if you don't agree with what your doctor is telling you, it is 100% okay to go seek a second opinion. So if you need a second opinion, then go seek one. But it definitely follow your doctor's orders. And that's the biggest way, and that's the way to start, with your coping and managing and stuff, because that's like the basis. So I don't know if that really answered all of what you were asking, but and one other thing is try to find a support system, whether it's online, you have some online groups. Try to find a couple people. You don't even have to be part of a big group, just maybe even a couple individuals that you can talk to who have bipolar disorder or are familiar with it, because finding someone who understands is one of the best and most valuable things too, because when you try to talk to other people, like some of your friends and family that don't have the illness and aren't familiar with it, you always get answers like, oh, just suck it up, or, oh, everything's going to be fine, don't worry about it, oh, it'll go away, oh, everyone feels like that, things like that, which are not true and not helpful in your situation. You're like, you don't understand, like, it's not like that. And so when you find a set of individuals that have the illness, they can relate to the issues like that, where friends or family would say, oh, everyone feels like that, or just suck it up. Someone with bipolar disorder is going to say, oh my God, I feel like that all the time. I know exactly what you're feeling. And when you hear something like that, that makes you feel so much better than the other response, because you want to know you're not alone. Even if that person doesn't have a remedy or anything like that, just knowing that someone else feels that same way and you're not the only person that feels like that, so helpful. That's how I got through. That's basically how I got started doing all of my online stuff, and starting my blog and everything like that. Was I was looking for anybody that I could talk to about my diagnosis, and I found the Ask a Bipolar group, and I started kind of getting a little bit involved. Then I became an author, and then from there I became the founder's partner and working on the site, social media. I found my niche, and I helped grow the site social media wise, and it was amazing though, having this group of people that I could go to whenever I needed some support or needed something, just someone. Even if they didn't have any solution to my problem, just being able to say, this is how I'm feeling right now, and to know that even if no one responds, but to know that somebody in there is feeling that same way too, was such a huge relief to me, and it helped me so much in my recovery. And so finding a couple people to chat with, obviously there's my page. The Bipolar Hot Mess website or Facebook page, we do have 2 private groups. We have a private group for basically just a general for bipolar disorder or any other mental illnesses, and then we have a second one that is for eating disorders, which eating disorders people tend to be a lot more secretive about and quiet about, and is something much more personal. So I created a separate group for that. That's actually one of the things I struggled with, and so the group is very small, and it's because it's separate than all the other stuff. But I have both of those secret groups, and if you want to be in one of those secret groups, just so you have those groups are more interactive. Everybody's kind of talking with each other. I am not a moderator, or I moderate it in that I look at it, and I comment and make my stuff. Put my opinions in there sometimes, but it's basically just all the individuals in that are in that group that are doing the posts, and the rest of the group members are commenting on them and giving them support and whatnot. So it's not like my main Facebook page where I'm posting everything, I'm posting all the content and everything, and then people are just commenting on that. Everyone in the group is interacting with each other and putting their problems and their issues out there, and the other group members are supporting them. So if anyone is interested in that, send me a message on Facebook, or if basically to get in the group, the way Facebook has it set up, you have to be a friend of mine or a friend of someone who's in the group already so that they can add you. But since the groups are secret, I don't give out the member list, obviously. So you have to friend request me on Facebook, and then as soon as you do, I add you into the group, and then you can delete me as a Facebook friend. It doesn't bother me because I know you just want you want to get into the group. So, so that's how the process goes. But if you are wanting to do that, send me a message so that I know that that's who you are. That's why you're sending me this friend request, because I get a lot of just really random requests, and so I want to make sure that I know you're sending me a friend request because you want to be added into a group, and so then I can do so for you. And so that's that. If you can meet anyone living or dead, who would it be and why? Well, my goodness, this is actually becoming a really long video. Okay, you know what? I am going to stop this one right now, and then we still have like 6 questions or something. So I'm just going to hit the stop button on this, and then I'm going to restart for part 2. How does that sound? Give you guys a little break. Yeah, because I ramble. So, okay.